Listen, kids, when life gives you lemons, you can make lemonade. And then you can go find someone whose life is giving him 7.62, load that shit into a machine gun and whack some North Koreans and Chinese in the Korean War. It's Tibor Rubin in today's Motivated Moments in History. Tibor Rubin was born in Hungary in 1929. He was the son of a shoemaker, and his dad, he also did 6 years in a Russian POW camp in World War I. Well, with a name like Tibor, you can best bet he's a Jew, and that's what he was. His family was staunch in their faith, and they didn't hold back from publicizing their beliefs. Well, this didn't sit well with Adolf Hitler, so he rounded up Tibor and his family and sent him to Auschwitz when he was 13. He spent 14 months of genocidal torture before being shipped off to another concentration camp in Austria. Well, when that camp was liberated by the U.S. in 1945, Tibor swore that he would one day repay America for its Nazi-killing badassery. He was 18 when he finally made it to the States, and once landing in the great USAlfa, he tried to enlist but was denied because he couldn't speak English. So he learned it, and tried again and was finally given enlistment in 1950. You know, that was about the same time that many troops were being sent off to Korea to go kill some people in some raiding hats and slay some freaking commies. Tibor is happy to join, and after boot camp, he went to the first cab and donned a Stetson and slayed some motherfucking bodies. Once in South Korea, went straight to the 30th parallel, right into the thick of it. The North Koreans and Chinese were vicious, and they sent waves and waves of troops at the Americans, forcing his unit to push back to a hilltop. Once on the hilltop, the massive assault seemed to be unending, as nearly every one of Tibor's comrades were killed, leaving him alone to defend this tactical position all by himself. Well, he grabbed a machine gun from a dead U.S. gunner's hands and started spraying every one of those Mortal Kombat-looking bastards right in the dig holes. He did this for over 24 hours. When the U.S. reinforcements finally arrived, they found Rubin alone next to a burned-out machine gun and an empty ammo can surrounded by a field lush with a glorious sight of dead commie bastards. 2 weeks later, he led a lone wolf campaign and captured over 100 North Korean troops all by his lonesome. Over the next 3 years, he fought with every fiber of his being, doing the most heroic shit ever imagined. He was recommended for the Medal of Honor 4 times, as well as a Silver Star twice and a slew of other awards. But he got nothing because his first sergeant was on some of that anti-Semitic hater shit and stifled every document that came his way. That first sergeant was even recorded as saying he'd rather be court-martialed than see a Jew get a ribbon. What a freaking shitbag! In October 1953, he was ambushed by a Chinese brigade of over 5,000 dudes. Rubin grabbed a machine gun and started waxing every bastard he could find. But after being whacked by grenade shrapnel and running out of ammunition, as well as being outnumbered 33-1, his position was eventually taken, and he, along with 40 of his counterparts, were taken as prisoners of war. Being Hungarian, which at the time was a communist country, the Chinese POW camp offered to give Rubin a free trip back to Hungary and a chance to start life anew in Europe. Well, Rubin told him to suck on his richly circumcised penis. He's a motherfucking American. He ain't gonna do shit. So for the next 2 years, Rubin and his cohorts were held captive in a dungeon, left to starve to death. Rubin, being the most physically fit of the bunch, as well as having the largest nutsack of the group, he escaped the camp periodically to steal food and medicine and other supplies, and then broke back into the camp and gave aid and nourishment to his fellow prisoners. He was finally released in 1955. He left the war and went back to work at his father's store. He'd given up on any hope of recognition for his service, nor did he really give a shit. But due to many claims of racism affecting awards in past wars, the DoD launched an investigation many decades later. The Pentagon, they realized they screwed up severely when they came across Tibor's records, and they jumped at the chance to unfuck themselves. And in 2005, Tibor Rubin was finally awarded the Medal of Honor. He died in 2015 and is buried at the Mount Sinai Memorial Park in LA. And that, kids, is your Motivated Moments in History.